Hello everyone, my name is Michael Bushman and welcome back to Magic the Gathering. So we interrupt your regularly scheduled Yu-Gi-Oh! And visual novel presentations for a master set coming out soon, probably sometime next year. Surprisingly, around the same time that Murders at Karlov Manor are releasing. So we will be getting two Ravnica themed sets literally coming out on the same month. But at the very least, Ravnica Remastered is more of a reprint set, and then Murders at Karlov Manor is the new one and will be standard legal. Of the 111 commons in this set, there are only like a very small handful that are worth giving attention to because they are downshifts. So without further ado, we're going to start with the white card here, Boros Elite. This is the first reprint here, and I gotta say, another one drop for the white decks, as if they didn't already have enough of it. Boros Elite becomes a 3/3 when attacking with other creatures, and in a deck like literally in the Boros deck, in Pauper, this is very easy to achieve. To make a 1-mana 1/1 into a 1-mana 3/3, that is like a cakewalk for the Boros decks of this format, and I am scared with this, like literally this new toy that they got solely because of this reprint set. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so not a downshift, but more of a really good reprint in Drift of Phantasms. This is a card that is older than Jesus and hasn't been reprinted since, well, ever. I think its last reprint was, well, if you even call it a reprint, it was in a dual deck, and it hasn't been reprinted in a draftable, booster packable, if that's even a word, environment since then. And to finally see it here in a reprint set will definitely add more supply to a card that definitely sees a lot of varying levels of play both in Pauper and in Commander. So good to see you, you wild gaggle of ghosts. I don't even want to know where those come from. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so another downshift here. I mean, just literally right beside Repeal, which has been in the format for a while now, but at least this one's getting a good reprint, but nothing too, it's not too notable since it's only seen like really niche use. But the downshift here is Sinister Sabotage. It's a counter spell that allows you to surveil. So this is basically cancel with small upside. Dimir Terror could potentially use this, but 3 mana is a bit much for that deck since most of its stuff caps out at 2 mana. So they may run 1 or hell even just 2 copies of this, you know, over something like Negate, which is, you know, some builds of Dimir Terror run, and this also helps them set up the graveyard because of the surveil. But I'm not too optimistic in seeing this see play in the places that I think it will see play in. Let's move on to the next one. Another not reprint, no, it's all of these are reprints. Another downshift here is Greater Forgeling. Hasn't seen reprints anywhere because this card is pretty goddamn bad. A 5 mana for a 3/4 may seem good, and then for 2 mana you can make it a 6/1. I don't know why you would want a really expensive fireball, but it's an option now, and I don't think this will see play anywhere, not even in limited. This is like pack filler at most. Good God, why would WotC keep doing this? Just move on to the next one. But compared to the Greater Forgeling, we have a really goddamn good 1 mana 1-drop, or rather 1 mana 1 power creature in red again. Why does red keep getting a lot of good stuff the last couple of months? Why? Tin Street Jodger, a 1 mana 1/1 with haste, as if Goblin Tomb Raider is not enough. We get another really good 1-drop for the mono red decks. Monastery Swift Spear may be banned, and then Tin Street Dodger can even make itself unblockable. Like why does WotC keep giving red good toys? They should really, you know, let's move on to the next one before I pop a blood vessel in my backbone. Another reprint, well, not really reprint, again, a downshift that we're going to see for the Pauper format is Sprouting Renewal, and this is actually really good. Because in Convoke, a lot of there are only a very small handful of go wide decks in the format, but I could see this seeing play somewhere. I mean, Black Gardens is a competitively viable Golgari mid-range deck in the format right now. I could see them using this, but it's only a sorcery, so that's what's holding it back. If it were an instant, it would probably be way too good because it also creates a token as a choice. So it's something, but I don't see it seeing like widespread play. But it's something to consider at the very least. And moving quickly on to the next one, we also have Call of the Conclave. 2 mana, make a 3/3. That's, I mean, it's pretty goddamn vanilla. So in the draft environment it's going to be in, this will be really, really useful, you know, to coincide with Sprouting Renewal here. But 2 mana for a 3/3 is pretty decent, I guess. I don't know if there are any Selesnya decks in the format right now, because a lot of green-based decks usually lean on either black or red anyway. So having a Selesnya deck in the format will definitely be a nice change of pace. But I'm not too hopeful that a vanilla 2 mana 3/3 will be worth a slot in any deck for that matter. But it's something to keep in mind at the very least. Let's move on to the next one. So we have 2 reprints here, not just any reprint, 2 downshifts side by side. One is an absolute piece of garbage that people will always egg on and ad infinitum, but when we also have a really good one here in Judge's Familiar, an Azorius 1-drop that is a force spike that can literally stay on the field and threaten your opponent with hoo motherfucker. This is a really good Azorius card, I'm not gonna lie. I shudder to think at what the Boros, or hell, even the Blue X decks are going to do now with Judge's Familiar being in the format. I am definitely scared for the future for all of the flying based decks here. Oh my god, Judge's Familiar is so good for the Pauper format, and to see it be downshifted for this purpose, it's just insane. Let's just keep moving on. Oh my god. Then for the last 2 cards in the lower end of the bracket here, we have Slitherhead and Wild Cantor. Wild Cantor first, finally getting a reprint after all this time. Always good to see something like this being reprinted. You know, more copies of the card being flooded into the market. It's really goddamn good. Slitherhead though, I am wary about this one because Golgari Gardens is a thing, and Scavenge 0 can be really good. Although granted, it can only be used as a sorcery, so you can only really grow it on your turns, thus making it vulnerable to a lot of forms of removal. But it is a 1-drop, so you may even choose to not use the Scavenge and just threaten to make this thing bigger and, you know, basically make your opponent have it. I may be overselling the card, but I have high hopes for this since a lot of Golgari based decks you know, manage to punch past a lot of interaction most of their opponents usually have. Now, this video would be really short because that is literally all of the downshifts, because I usually cover master sets because they usually break the Pauper format in half with whatever they downshift or reprint again at lower rarities. So for the rest of this video, we're going to look at a bunch of high rarity reprints that are included in this set, and oh boy, we do have a few good ones for our commander players, so this is a treat for you. So to start this off, and no, I will not be going into the separate windows because that is way too much work. First one is Cloudstone Curio, and that is a card that I am really weirded out by the fact that it hasn't been reprinted in the longest goddamn time. And I'll just put Cloudstone Curio like literally center stage here. Good thing this thing is finally going to see a reprint. It enables a lot of insane combos in EDH, and both for the lower power levels and the higher power levels. So it's something to keep in mind when you're going to buy this set. You know, finally flood the market with this thing. And yeah, really happy to see it being reprinted here. Up next, another reprint is a Guardian Project. This is not only reprinted but also upshifted, so that will definitely, you know, cause the price tag to, you know, dip a little bit, because it's like, I believe $15, maybe even $20, maybe even more nowadays. But Guardian Project is an insane card. This has been in a lot of creature-based green decks for as long as it has been in rotation, you know, well, quote-unquote rotation, in Commander, and has been, you know, in it ever since. To see it be reprinted at higher high-rarity at that. I mean, it deserves it, given how powerful the card is, but making it mythic is going to definitely not do much in, curbing the price tag of this card. I just hope that we get enough of this flooding the market. Another interesting reprint that is included in this set is Utvara Hellkite, and I'm actually surprised that this extremely popular dragon finisher has not been reprinted. Hence the really expensive price tag that has, I believe, crashed since it was revealed that it's going to be in the set. So good on them at the very least, but I believe also that there had been better finishers apart from Utvara Hellkite since then, but it is still a fan favorite because, not every day can you say the word Utvara, and that's a word that is not very common in the English language. Sometimes I wonder where WotC gets their words. Probably a mix of cultures here and there. Next, we have Court of Calling. Always good to see this be reprinted and using the original art for that matter. So, if you see a big flying bird in your draft pack, then you got a good one there. Just snap pick it and forget about the rest. You're going to be building green-white tokens from then on. Always good to see this be reprinted. Another, it's not exactly a significant reprint, but I'm happy to see this here because it hasn't been reprinted like ever. Well, at least not in the physical sense. I believe this was reprinted once in a Magic Online set, and it's copy enchantment. It's literally what it says on the tin. It copies an enchantment that's already on the board. Like, what more can I say? This card hasn't been reprinted like ever, so for it to finally see the light of day again in a more modern setting is definitely something for the blue players who love putting their enchantments on things. So it's usually Bant that loves enchantments, and to see this be reprinted, finally, your wallets can rest a little easier. Another notable reprint is Deathrite Shaman. For a card that is essentially banned in a lot of major 60-card formats, Deathrite Shaman is still a $5 card because it sees significant play in Vintage and in Commander, which are like two really busted formats, and finally being reprinted yet again, it's nice. It's definitely nice. The 1-mana Planeswalker strikes fear into the hearts of more, into our younger audience yet again. Another card that I cannot believe hasn't been reprinted ever since is Ghostway. So this is another one of those mass flicker effects for your board. You can use this to save your own board, or hell, you can even use it offensively in order to reset enter the battlefield triggers. I still can't believe this hasn't been reprinted ever since, like, ever. So to see it be reprinted here, we'll definitely see its price come down significantly, until of course WotC decides to pull the plug on reprints for Ravnica Remastered, and then poof, the price tag goes up yet again. But good to see Ghostway being reprinted here. Another reprint worth talking about is Infernal Tutor. I cannot believe this hasn't been reprinted in paper. That's insane. Although granted, in order to build around Infernal Tutor, your hand has to be empty, and most legacy decks have found a way around this restriction. Just having Lion's Eye Diamond, which is an extremely expensive card, then using Infernal Tutor in response to that, so you can it's basically Demonic Tutor with downside-ish. So to see it be reprinted here is definitely nice to see, but I don't exactly see it creeping up in price way too much. But more copies means we can have Infernal Tutor for pennies to the dollar. Another reprint, and this is more of a personal take, Legion Warboss. This card is extremely popular in 60-card formats for some reason, even though the decks surrounding this guy are either ploddingly slow, and they use prison elements to slow the game down, and then peck at you with incremental damage that cumulatively gets bigger over time, because the Warboss amasses a lot of gobbles turn after turn after turn, and then he in turn makes those gobbles even bigger. So it's like 3 to 5 turn clock if ever. But in Commander, this also sees some play, but not as frequent as some of the other more popular Goblin options out there. But it's something to keep in mind at least, and at the very least, we're making Goblin players really happy. Another reprint in this set, Pariah Shield. I cannot believe this hasn't been reprinted ever. in paper. I believe this was reprinted once in a Magic Online set, and it hasn't seen the light of day anywhere else. So to see it be reprinted here will definitely cause its price to, dip down a lot, since this isn't exactly a popular commander card, but it's a welcome addition to be reprinted. So at least the Voltron players are going to be happy seeing this card's price tag go down a notch. Another reprint in this set is Prince of Forgotten Gods. This was a standard staple way back in the day and is sort of seeing play in Pioneer, but in Modern and Up, this is a little too slow because it requires way too many things going your way in order for it to fully use its abilities. And in a format like Commander, where there are like free sacrifice outlets and don't exactly require a lot for it to go right, Priest of Forgotten Gods has fallen way to the wayside. But it is something to keep an eye on, because especially for Commander players, because any sacrifice outlet is still a sacrifice outlet, and a sacrifice outlet with upside and you have to pay up front in order to get the really good effect is something that Commander players are more than willing to spend on. And finally, the last reprint, the really notable one here, is Tidespout Tyrant. The last reprint this card got was in Battle Bond, and it hasn't been reprinted since. And to finally see it here, this will only be the third time around, I believe it has been reprinted, and it's even using the OG art. So there's that janky ass mess that you're seeing on screen. So it's something. It hasn't really been too expensive, but at the very least, it's good to see it. More copies means we can get it for cheaper. So yeah, those are the Pauper downshifts, plus a couple of the notable high rarity reprints that we're going to see out of this set. Yeah, I'm honestly not too horribly excited, surprisingly, for Ravnica Remastered. Being a Ravnica themed draft set. This is basically a best of the best This is a best of the best set where WotC curated a lot of cards that came out of the Ravnican sets over the years, and then curated it into one massive draft set. I don't know how the more experienced and franchise draft players say about this set. That's not exactly my place. I'm more of a constructed guy, but looking at the high rarity reprints, my commander senses are tingling like crazy, and I thought I should talk about them here. Unlike the previous one, because there were a lot of downshifts there, and I don't exactly have the time to squeeze them all in. So, if you like what you saw, hit like, comment, subscribe, and share this among your friends. And until next time, toodles!